And welcome everybody, Ed Dale here, and it's my absolute pleasure to be hosting this webinar and introducing to you, without doubt, the author of my favourite book of the year, Oren Klaff. Oren, welcome aboard to this webinar. We've got some exciting stuff planned for today.
Great, thanks, Ed. I think this is the third one in a series we've done, and they're getting better.
That's right. And there was no truth in the rumour, according to one Twitter wag, that we were trying to beta block people on the time of this webinar. So thank you for all of those. Thank you for your understanding. I really appreciate that. So, Oren, let's get straight down to it. We've got two great websites here that we're going to develop pitches for, both coming at it from different angles. But maybe let's take people through what we're going to do today and what we're trying to achieve.
Okay, so look, my concept was a lot of people have either read chapter 1 and are supposedly ordering the book, or they've read the book. Okay, so it's one thing to read the theory and internalize it and understand it. It's another thing entirely to see it happening live, to see somebody doing it. So the concept that we have is that people are going to pitch me, and I'm going to try and fix their pitches in real time, and you can see the change in the before and the after. So before I take those pitches live and fix them, I thought I would do this. I would establish for you, for the guys listening, in my mind, the perfect framework. Okay, so not the super detailed one that the book encompasses, but something that you can hear today, grasp and wrap your head around. So the perfect framework, right? Then I'm going to give a pitch that I'm out in the market with today. Remember, I'm not a consultant or a typical author in that this is all I do. All I do really is go in the market and close deals or raise capital. So I'm going to give you a pitch of a live deal that's in the market today. Just today I raised $500,000 with it. I've raised $12 million in the last 60 days with the pitch you're about to hear, and it's so successful. We're going to open this raise up to $100 million of capital because it's really working. So you're going to hear that one. And I'm going to follow up and say, okay, this is what you just heard. Obviously you guys can listen well and understand what the details of the pitch are, but I'm going to give you the framework and map of what you just heard. Okay. Then I'm going to give you a method to audit the pitches you're about to hear. So you're not just hearing a pitch from these other guys who want it fixed or improved. You'll be able to audit it as they give it, the same way I am. And then we're going to hear these live pitches and fix them in real time. Okay, so I think we can just get started by establishing what the perfect pitch framework in my mind is, and this stuff, really is what you should be doing. So,
absolutely.
Does that sound a right approach to you?
That sounds fantastic, and not to put any pressure on Adrian and Danal. Of course, you're just about to hear a world-class pitch. Don't stress about what we do. We're here to help. And the important thing, and I think the thing that everybody needs to keep in the back of their mind while they're listening to Oren doing this, is that obviously this is a capital raising pitch, and I reckon that a capital raising pitch is the blue chip. It's the hardest thing that you can sell, because you are selling a concept to somebody. But what's so crucial with all of Oren's material, and something that's very important for every single one of you to understand, the title of the book was Pitch Anything. And I think we do pitches every day when we're selling an idea in a blog post, when we're selling a website, when we're creating a video to sell our new product, like I did this very last week. I just used an exact Pitch Anything pitch to sell a online product. I want you guys to understand that Oren's capital raising stuff that's the creme de la creme. If you can sell that stuff, which is a concept, then anything else is easier. And I want you to make sure that you're taking those lessons and applying them. Is that a fair summary there, Oren?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get cracking.
Okay, guys. So the then I want to give you here quickly the perfect framework. If you don't get a chance to jot all this down, you're not in a place to do it, we'll put this in a slide and mail it around after the show. Okay. But obviously, if you know anything about this material, right, job one is to create high status, is to come in with star power, high status, so the things you say get the real attention of the people you're talking to. So I have fixed this high status problem by building these pitch decks, these velocity pitch decks. And you can see those at thevelocitymethod.com. You can see examples of it. Ed has examples.
Yeah, we'll put those up in the links as well.
Yeah. So we fixed the high status problem by having these pitch decks that are clearly, look like they come through from J.P. Morgan and not done by two guys and a dog. Right? Another way to fix this high status is by just having a great pitch, like the one that I'm about to give you. So a great pitch deck, or having some very high credibility is you've got to come in with high status. That's one. The second thing, your idea, your whole concept, the framework has to be big and in a changing environment, and that makes it important. When something is big and it is moving, that makes it important. Okay? So big, changing environment, important. You've got to have that framework. Right? 3, it's got to be simple, fast, and concrete. All right, I hear some complaint about my microphone. I'm going to switch. Okay. All right, so it's got to be simple, fast, and concrete. Right? And it's got to be those 3 things together. Simple alone is not good enough. Fast alone is not good enough. And concrete alone is not good enough. Simple, fast, and concrete. Right? Because if you're doing something at the introduction phase, if it's not concrete, we can talk about it later, you're going to raise all kinds of red flags. The fourth thing is you've got to, and people skip it, establish your core value proposition. How somebody takes what you have, and they make money with it or improve their situation with it. Very clearly establish the value proposition. In the case of raising money, what stage is the company in? What's the risk reward? If you're selling a product or closing a deal, again, how much risk am I taking for what reward? All right. Then all of this has got to be wrapped in momentum. So we're going forward. The train is leaving the station with you or without you. If you're on it, that's fine. If you're not on it, that's fine too. So momentum and a time constraint. And then at that moment that you wrap up the pitch, it's establishing frame control and not giving control of the social frame to someone else to beat you up with questions or move into the analyst frame. Right? So real quickly, high status, it's going to be big in a changing environment, simple, fast, concrete ideas. You've got to establish the core value proposition. A lot of people miss that step, although it seems the most obvious. You've got to have people understand what the risk-reward relationship with the offering is. Got to have momentum. You say, we're going forward without you. You can join in, but this is happening with or without you. And you've got to get frame control once the pitch is over. So that is, in my mind, the framework that everybody can map their offering to very somewhat easily, right, without having to go through every page and every chapter of the book. So I'm going to give you guys in 4 or 6 minutes, depending on how carried away I get, the pitch that I'm using today in the market. So Ed, how are we tracking? Are we ready to
beautifully going well? And I think potentially that other mic you were using was better, but if you want to switch that back, I think that's better. Don't worry. Sometimes people have audio issues, but we are recording, and we will get all those details to you. So let's fire away.
Yeah. All right. So I want to give you guys this pitch that I'm using for a healthcare deal, and I'm just going to call it the Acme company, so I don't breach my non-disclosure agreement. All right. But what I want to tell you guys about this deal, and just to get you oriented to it, it's a healthcare deal, and healthcare is important because in the U.S. it's 1/5 of the U.S. economy. 1/5 of the U.S. economy. And today there's a rise in adverse health conditions, in illnesses. Diabetes, cancer, obesity are on the rise. For example, at UPS, just obesity is a $1.4 billion problem. That's a real problem. Like, they have to buy bigger ladders and better trucks for guys who are not normal weight. All right? So huge problem, rise of adverse health conditions, massive market, and there is a single technology disrupting all corners of the healthcare sector. And that technology is molecular diagnostics. Right? To you and me, that is a DNA test. DNA test. Right? Acme Genomics, the company that I'm working with, has a DNA test that measures 600 diseases, drug conditions, and inherited disease traits. So it looks for things, this test looks for things like cystic fibrosis, lung cancer, diabetes, whether you are likely to have that condition. If it's on your genetic train tracks, it will show you, right? Or if you're going to pass that disease on to a child, it will indicate the risk of doing that. So today, DNA tests are done every day, all right? What Acme has that's special is it puts $100,000 of genetic tests on a single chip for $350. It's $100,000 of DNA tests on a single chip for $350 flat. Right? So really quickly, for those of you who don't understand why you would do a genetic test or why you would want a massive panel of 600 disease conditions for you to know about, at that point in your life where you need to take a drug, right? What you might not know is half of all drug spending is wasted because people metabolize drugs differently, right? So if you need to take a drug like oxycodone, warfarin, Plavix, or a statin, there is a high likelihood that drug will not work for you. The genetic test will indicate how and if that drug will work for you. So, for example, a drug like warfarin, which is a blood thinner, if you have to take that drug, right, you need to know if you're a metabolizer of it. Because if you're not, if you cannot metabolize that drug, or it causes an adverse reaction, it can literally kill you, right? So you need to know what drugs you can metabolize for which and which diseases you have risks for. Right? If you take a single genetic test, like the test for warfarin, that will cost you $400. If you take the test, the inherited disease test for cystic fibrosis, which your physician may prescribe to you, that's $800. So these tests are for obesity, for lung cancer, for a range of inherited disease. You may have heard of the BRCA gene. That's a $3,000 test. Okay. So all of these tests are on the Acme panel for $350. Right. The company today is profitable. It has done $15 million in revenue through Q3 of 2011. In 2012, there's $50 million of revenue in plan from existing customers. No new customers are needed to hit the 2012 plan, and those revenues are under contract. And not only are they under contract, but they are the baseline, the bottom end of those contracts. Bank of America Merrill Lynch is working on plans to take this company public in Q1 of 2013. The Series C capital raise is complete, and today we're just here to talk about oversubscribing that round. So in talking to you guys as investors, I'd like to know, before we get involved with you guys, what you could offer this deal beyond capital, right? How do you behave as investors? What kind of relationships can you bring to the table? So we're no longer looking for just money. We're looking for good people to work with. We do not want to have pimply-faced venture capitalists who have never operated a company in on this deal. We want to hear really beyond your kind of vague strategic advice and your money, what you can add. So guys, that's a pitch that's working today, right? And you can see it has a narrative. It has all those things we talked about. All right. Ed, any questions about that pitch? Was it clear to you how it moves through the framework? Is there anything on there that we want to pause and talk about?
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll move on to our listener contestants here and looking at their sites. And I think by repeating the process again and again, people will get it. And I should say, and if you look at your screen at the moment, just as a prompter, if you don't have the book Pitch Anything by now, please just jump onto Amazon as you're listening to us and do yourself a favor and buy Pitch Anything. It's a magnificent book, and one of the best things about the book is there's a lot of books which are all high concept. Okay, they talk about concepts and strategies, and geez, the concepts and strategies sound good, but then they don't tell you specifics. Here's how you specifically do it. One of the things I love about Pitch Anything is that it gives you the step-by-step specifics. And Oren, when we discussed that, I think that was something you were very proud of as well, that you have all of this in detail inside the book. So let's go on and let's start off. And first of all, we have Deval Bat, and Deval is the owner of the website that you can see on the screen, which is called Tabletop Fountains. And this is a website that Deval wants to sell. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get Deval to tell us a bit about that, maybe include some pitch elements, Deval, if you'd like to, and then we'll do some backwards and forwards with you, Oren, in ways that we can improve this pitch and how can we get people to help the pitchers, obviously, to sell the site. So Deval, first to you, give us a bit of background, history, and your pitch, if you will, on why should somebody buy Tabletop Fountains.
Sure. By the way, I love your book, Oren, and Ed, thank you very much for introducing it to us. Our pitches for the web marketing company that I work for, Triumph Web Marketing, has completely changed, and it works like wildfire. It's just amazing. Getting into the Tabletop Fountain Store, it's a website I started right in the middle of recession in 2009, in summer of 2009. When we had some pay cuts at my work, and I wanted to make some extra money. The pitch, I haven't prepared the pitch for it. I was gonna prepare it after this webinar, but I can go on the fly and do something if that's what you recommend. Do you want me to get into that discussion, Ed, or do you want me to give you the details of the stats?
Oren, what would you like to hear first?
Treat me as a buyer.
Okay, Oren. So this Tabletop Fountain Store, it sells primarily tabletop fountains. The gross sales in last 12 months were $21,850. $21,850. Now, if you know anything about today's day and age, there's a lot of stress, and people like to buy things that help them relieve their stress. And this is a very fast and growing market. The best thing is that it's very easy to procure one of these little products, and you can buy it for under $100, and it can really create a very relaxing atmosphere in your environment. You can buy one for your backyard too. Now the website has been #1 for its main keywords for 1.5 years now. Tabletop fountain and tabletop fountains. It's also ranking #1 for bamboo fountains. All of this are emerging new age markets where people are really very much willing to buy it. Now, the average monthly traffic is about 4,500 people go to this website. The conversion is about 0.52%, which means from every 200 people that visit it, one person buys it. The refund rate is almost negligible. Nobody calls me and says, "Hey, I don't like your product." It's usually refund happens when I send something that gets broken during the shipping or something gets damaged. So that's the only time that I have had a refund scenario. Monthly expenses are very negligible. It's $70 of hosting and shopping cart, and the toll-free number is about $15. The reason they're going into the phase two. This is the big change that's happening now is that people are buying small things that can give them instant relaxation, and this is one of those things. It doesn't cost a lot of money to buy this. People are getting more and more stressed as their job demands more from them. So this is the market that can be really dominated and packaged very well if you go for this. It's it's the core value here is that you get a website that's ranking very high. It's competing with multi-million-dollar companies like Amazon. It's competing right with them, and it's dominating the niche. It's selling more fonts than anybody else in its niche. The core value proposition is you get this for $10,000, and you will keep this website, and you can dominate this. You can go for a bigger. You can take this and make it bigger if you want to. If you don't want it, you can just keep it to yourself and rate the revenues. There is someone who will want to buy this. It's whether or not you, it may be you, it may not be you. The key thing here is I want someone who will take care of this. I want someone who will continue to build my reputation because I started this. This is my baby, and I really want this to have a very good reputation going forward. So it's not just the money that I'm looking from you. I'm also looking for someone who will treat this like a real thing and make it grow and take care of it. So that's. All
right, I'm going to cut in, and I think you've done a good job, right? And believe me, when people don't, I don't just say that.
I can vouch for that.
You've done a good job. If it blows, I'm happy to tell you, all right? But you did a good job here. I want to point out some things that are definitely going to tighten this up, all right? So coming into this, you say things like, you say the right thing, you're going to establish high status. So you say things like ranking number one, right? And number one in the main keyword, right? But you have to put this in context, right? How hard that is. So in essence, you started off dealing with the competitive landscape, right? So I might start off like this. Say, guys, listen, I built this site up from scratch. I know this. You might not know this space, right? But a butterfly does not enter this airspace without me knowing about it. I know what all the websites are, what the keywords are, what you have to pay for them, right? And so nothing happens in my niche that I don't know about, right? So when I say I have the number one main keyword, let me tell you what that means. That is hard fought. The other five guys want it, but I have it, all right? So what I think you need to do is when you have these numbers, we say 4,500 people, 0.52%, you've got to put those in context, right? And at least establish that you know the entire competitive set. Because the red flag here is that there's a dark horse site that I don't know about. So I need you to say, look, Warren, I know all of the sites that compete for these keywords and sell what I sell, all right? And let me tell you what's going on. So that's something you got to fix, and it's going to strengthen it up significantly, right? The second thing is, right, I want you to run through the finances in a block. Kind of do this in the book, right? So when you get to talking about the financial aspect of the site, say, look, I've grown the site. I've put X amount of equity into the site, and I've got it to revenue. Let's just say, just choose a round number, okay? So I've got it to revenuing $20,000 annually, right? But the upside is, with some additional investment of time, the upside is this thing can be doing $50,000 a year. All right. The downside protection is that if you leave this alone, it will continue to do $20,000 a year for the next 3 years. right? So it's got downside protection. The pro forma looks like this, right? 2012 is 20,000, 2013 is 25,000, 2014 is 30,000, and 2015 is 50,000. This site is differentiated in these specific ways, and again, the competitive landscape is 5 main competitors break down like this, and I know them all.
And
right?
Oren,
so
can I just put in there, particularly when it comes to selling websites, you have absolutely zero excuse not to put this information in, because it's all confirmable information. One of Oren's key concepts is confirmable specific information. And in a lot of pro formas, which are the projections, if you will, of profits, you can actually put pure context around that. You know your conversion at the moment is 0.52%. So all they have to do is increase traffic from 4,000 to 7,000 to produce that exact result. So you can actually lay out and show the change and show the specifics of the change. So it's not some fluffy language, fluffy numbers. It's actual specific numbers. If they can do this, then the site will do this.
But I have to believe it's doable within the competitive environment. And that's what's missing here, all right? Then the last thing, let me see. So the last thing, and I have a couple things and we can do more offline, but the last thing I want to cover here, right, is, and we do this sometimes with a fund, we're raising capital for a fund, and people don't know the business that well. So I think you can say, hey, look, if you want to be successful with a site like this, this is generically how you succeed, right? These are the key assumptions to success with any website like this, right? You need to be able to find the traffic. So the top 3 in order of importance. You need to be able to affordably get the traffic. You need to have the conversion rate stay consistent, right? And you can't have volatile competitors. Those are the 3 components to success and in order of importance. And I'm not sure those are exactly the right ones, but this is an example, right? That's how you succeed. The other 2 things you need are X and Y. Let me tell you how we stack up in terms of those critical success drivers, all right? So you teach someone how to be successful in the business in a way that they can believe in, and then you show them how you match those drivers. And I think that's something you really need to add to this pitch, all right? And then I want to add just one last kind of overarching comment. I hate it when people, and look, we've all done this at some point, but I've had to clean up my act. I hate it when people compare themselves to Facebook, LinkedIn, Amazon, Google, Yahoo, Groupon. Those are anomalies. They are impossible to repeat. You don't have that. Venture capitalists are killing themselves with hundreds of millions of dollars to try and repeat those companies and those projects, right? That's not what you have, and none of us do. Okay.
Totally. And so, Deval, too, can I just think subconscious things on the website to stick out to people, like and a couple of people have mentioned in the webinar. I should also say, Oren, I think we've had about 9 people so far who are interested in investing in your company. They were asking if Acme was real. This is not for all those listening. This is not a investment podcast. You should, of course, seek professional advice. That was used as an example only, but it worked very well. The other thing I was just going to say, and a couple of people pointed out, expert advice. Advice is spelt incorrectly. Take it from somebody who is a horrific speller in his own right, which is me. Things like that are little things, but they trigger off subconscious yellow flags, which you don't want to have in a sales process. So, Oren, do you want to, we've given, did you have any follow-up questions, Deval, just before we move on to Adrian's site?
No, I really appreciate your input, and I'm really excited now that I have some solid concrete foundations.
Great,
Thank you
and
very
thank
much.
you very
Really
much for
appreciate
offering up your site. Really, really appreciate that,
Oh,
and there'll be a virtual round of applause, I'm sure, for everybody listening to the webinar.
and Ed and Duval, I may sound mean or critical, but don't worry about me because the investor or the buyer is going to be brutal, right? So I'm trying to walk that line between, I like you, I like what you're doing, and I respect it, okay? I respect it, but I'm trying to give you the real world experience. You get in front of these guys, they're going to kick ass, and it is a brutal environment to be, raising capital or selling a deal or close a deal. Nobody will be even nearly this nice. So I want you to, with the spirit that was intended.
I get it. I get it, Aaron. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you so much, Deval, for doing that. Now, just for something slightly different, we are traveling across the Pacific and we're going to a very successful and popular site here in Australia, Home Builders Australia. And we have Adrian Marklew on, who's a mentoring student, which I'm thrilled to say. But he has a very big project here. And rather than me talk about it, I am going to get Adrian to kick off and pitch us on the site. What does he want to do? What's he want to sell? And take it away, Adrian.
Okay, Ed. Thank you very much, Oren. It's a real honour to spend some time with you today. I guess I should probably qualify a couple of things, and first of all, being that Home Builders Australia is actually not my site. I am a partner in it, but I'm in the process of trying to raise capital for it. So it's a really special occasion, I guess, for me, and to have this opportunity is I'm very grateful for, Oren, and also to you too, of course, Ed. I guess I'd probably start with my background a little bit and why I'm so passionate about the industry. I'm been very lucky in so much as my family history has been in the building industry, and my father's has been very successful. He's a 2 times Australian Home Builder of the Year and a 5-time state award winner, past president of the industry, and building commission board member. So the education that I've gained just over the dinner table, I guess, at the end of the day or every day, has been invaluable in the understanding of how the industry works. And then the flip side is I've spent most of my life in the industry and have an understanding of what clients are after. And I guess the issues in the minefield that is the building game. So I guess about 7 years ago I set out to create a comprehensive education search and contact platform to bring those that are looking to build together with builders that would be suitable for that. And this is not, I guess, that example, but it's the basis and what will, I guess, launch the overall project we're endeavouring to achieve to the market. Now, the site that we're looking at is an industry leader here in Australia. It's probably the most visited building and trade related website. It is a profitable business as it stands, and it runs probably 3 revenue streams. There's probably about 18 more to go on top of it. It ranks in the top 3 for Google for all major keywords. Certainly our main keywords and the keywords that we're found to be profitable. Geez, guys, you really put me on the spot. To be honest, I had no idea what we're getting into today. So, I'm not sure where to take it from.
That's right. Keep
You're
going.
doing a good job.
Yeah. So I guess the concept and what we're raising capital for is to purchase the balance of the shares in this business and to then, I guess, take us to the next level. So we've put together what is, I believe, an exceptional team. That being obviously those that are involved in the industry, so heads of those to help with the education side of stuff. From a development point of view, we've brought in arguably the world's best. So in the words of the founders of Twitter, our development team are from the future, in talking marks.
And let me help this along. How much are you raising?
We're looking to raise just over $1 million.
How much capital has been in so far?
The site that we're looking at the moment hasn't really had a lot of. It's had no capital in it. It's just been a two-person team, which has come out to a three-person team in the last six or 8 months.
And what revenues is it generating, Adrian?
I'm not sure that I can disclose it due to non-disclosure agreements.
That's fine. Just be general then.
Yeah, in a general sense, it's a very profitable business.
Yeah. Well,
my last question is at what valuation, right? So if I put in $1 million, what do I get? At what valuation are you raising the money?
At this point, it's kind of hard to say, but I would suggest that the business at the moment I was happy to pay $4 million for. 12 months ago, I have investors that are happy to put in $500,000 for 5% of the business, so I guess that values it at $8 million. But the truth of it is, I haven't had a full valuation done on the business to ascertain what the actual value is.
Okay. So look, I think what we have here is really a conversation, right? And this is a good conversation. So let's call a spade, right? So it's not really what you have yet. What you have yet is not a pitch, right? And so maybe I'm going to give you some direction to take this, right? But this is a good conversation. They might sit down over coffee, right? And say, hey, this is what we have. We're talking about doing this, right? But I wouldn't walk into a boardroom and, you're not there yet. And I understand this call is part of the preparation to do that, all right? So let's take the framework, that we talked about originally, right? So high status. I think you did come in with that, right? With the family relationship. I would tighten that up, and say, hey, look, my family has this track record, okay? And I have access to people who have done it, and they are advising, okay? The next thing is I would say is, this website operates, we're in a high growth area, right? So it has been easier to grow this site than other sites that I know about, right? And so things are moving fast in this space, and we're on top of it. And I would give some proof points that this environment is changing fast, right? And that it's big, and that we are at the leading edge with some special relationships. And then I would say, here's 3 specific examples. Here's 3 specific examples of how fast things are changing and how we have capitalized on these changes, right? Then I would say, definitely, you need to refine the value proposition. When people come to the site, right, the way they used to do it before they came to the site was X. They come to the site and they get Y, right? And that makes a big difference in people's lives. And I'll give you one specific example. You can give a use case, all right? Then I think you have to say, then I think you really have to say is, look, we don't necessarily need capital. We are on a organic growth that is very attractive. But there are some things that we would like to do, right? So we are talking opportunistically to investors because $1 million coming into this company, and right now we value the company at $10 million, so $1 million gets 10% of the deal, right? But we think that we have a critical path to a $20 million revenue stream within 2 years, all right? And so the upside on this is you come in now, we're going to see a valuation bump. We're going to get an increase in value of this deal, within 6 months. And within 12 months, we're going to see a doubling of the valuation. And the exit strategy looks like this. There are 5 companies we know about today who will buy this business, right? So we're growing this into a buyer. All right. So these companies are, and for example, one of these companies is, General GE Australia, because they have got to have these kinds of customers. We know they pay a 10x multiple on EBITDA, right? And that puts us in here, puts us at a $20 million valuation, just one of the buyers. Okay, I'm just kind of following the framework that we set out. So we've got the round circle. Okay, so we've got 3 or 4 guys. We've got the round circle. Right, we know we're going to close it January 30th. We're going to close the round January 30th. I think that's enough time for you and I to explore you putting the capital in. What I'd like to hear from you guys right now is, we have our own capital. We're looking to meet new and interesting people with this round of investment that can expand the footprint. We do not want a purely financial investor, right? What we want is people who are going to bring something to the table, new, interesting, new relationships. And so why don't you tell us now what kind of investor you are, how you have behaved in your investments before, what you like to do, and what value you bring, and then let's start the conversation there. Okay, so that's your pitch. I think that might have been 6 or 7 minutes. Okay, and if you go back and replay this recording, if you just do that, you have a really solid pitch underneath you.
Oh, wow, I can't tell you how much I really appreciate it, Ron.
Yeah. Well, if I could go back 25 years and get that same advice, then I would be very happy. But yeah, so this is, and so Ed, one of the last things I want to say, I think we're coming up on time here, is what you can see happening in the way that I've given my pitches, where I've restructured these ones, is you can see there's a narrative running through it. It is not just the delivery of information. There's a narrative arc.
A story.
Okay, so that's something we're going to talk about in the future, but you want to have this story that hangs together, that has a tempo, that has characters, that has human elements, that has some intrigue and possibility and tension, okay? And narrative arc is what makes this a human experience. The delivery of information makes it an analytical experience, and that's not what I provide.
Can I ask you a question with this, Oren? Do you find the narrative comes to you, the hook, if you will, the story, after you've got the guts of the presentation down, so you've filled in all of the key elements as you outline a pitch structure, just like you did for Adrian there? How does that usually come to you, the hook? Yeah.
So I think this is a real problem I see people having, is they look to capture the big idea or the narrative, right, before they've really sunk themselves into what it is. That's the last piece, build the story. And by the way, when I say story, I don't mean convincing people on something that's not there, right? It is giving people a human narrative to understand a deal, a financial deal, right? But you've got to really understand all the guts and play with it, and then come out and say, hey, the big idea here, for example, in Builders Australia, is that I haven't nailed it. I haven't been, I'll work with you guys, but so 5 minutes exposure to this deal, I do this stuff all the time. I don't know the big idea yet. So you've got to steep yourself in all the elements, and eventually you get the aha. You know what's amazing? What's amazing about this deal? The big idea here is, the big idea is the combination of the competitive advantage, the value proposition, and the market. Okay, and it combines all those 3 things. And let's see, and that triggered something else in my mind that I wanted to just mention in this deal. Well, anyway, I think we covered it.
I think you've done a good job there. Yeah. Look, I've got a couple of key questions here, Oren. Have we got just a couple of minutes to go through some questions we had from the audience?
Sure. How's my mic? Is that holding
It's fine.
up?
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's looking good. Okay, so one of the biggest questions that we had is people basically saying you talk about establishing status and going in high status, high confidence, walking into a meeting, or presenting your website for sale, or pitching a product online. People say, "What if I don't have that high confidence? Is that important? Do you have to be unnaturally up about what you're talking about? How do you give yourself confidence if that's not too broad a question?"
It's very simple, okay? You have got to convince yourself of this one thing. I have it and you don't. If you want it, you got to ask me for it nicely, okay? And if you don't do that, I will leave. All right? And so
but people say, "Oh, that's easy for you, Oren, to do that. That's that's simple for you. You've had plenty of practice." How do people get to that point if they're from the point of where they just simply don't believe that at the moment?
No, but this is the thing. You do have it, okay? So you want to sell me your site? I don't have it. You have it, right? It's just very easy to say, I have it, you don't, okay? If you want something as great as this, you have to ask me for it.
Yep.
That just say the words. Go talk to your dog. Right?
Is this a belief thing? You and I had a discussion about this. Is it a belief thing? Like, do you have to, if you don't believe in what you've got to sell, you've got to pitch or what you're doing? Now, explain that.
Okay. I think I said before, I am not a motivational speaker. I don't care if you're miserable all the way through this, but you close the deal or raise the money or sell the site, right?
Yep.
And if you're unhappy and depressed and miserable, but you get the sale, I'm happy. Okay, so this is not about motivation. It's not about belief systems.
Good.
Okay, this is maybe a little bit of it, but this is factual, right? I have it, and you don't. All right, I have value. I have the value. I own it, and you don't. Okay, the reason I'm talking to you and the reason we're coming together for a meeting is you're interested in getting this kind of value, and if you want it. Okay, if you want the thing that I built that has my personality and my brand of awesomeness in it, right? And you want someone of my credibility, of my honesty, all you have is integrity and honesty. That's goddamn more than most people have, all right? I have the integrity. I built the site. These revenues are mine. This is my child. It is, I built it. It's built properly, okay? So if you want something that sucks, go buy something else, right? But if you want what I have, you have to play by my rules, okay? So what I'm saying is you may not have the courage today to say that to the buyer or the investor, okay? And there's two reasons. One is you haven't said it. The words have not left your lips. And two is you just don't have enough buyers lined up, right? So if there's 50 of them, right, and 49th calls in a single day, and you just go, "Oh, Joe, my God, I'm so sorry. I mean, I got to go to dinner, but if you want this thing, just wire me money. Otherwise, we'll just talk maybe next week." Okay, that's what you tell the 49th buyer that called you a single day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the two issues are these words have not left your lips. I have it, you don't. If you want the integrity and the credibility and the smarts and the quality of the product that I built, you have to play by my rules. You have to be nice to me. You have to respond when I ask you to, and you have to play this game properly. Otherwise, you don't get it. So just say that to people. Say it to your husband, to your wife, to your dog, to your partner, to your coworker, to the wall. Get those words on your lips. And the second thing is, a big enough pipeline of buyers that you really don't care if you blow out any individual one because there's more. And that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
How to stack up more buyers than you need. All right, but
we can say I think that's gone a long way to helping people out on this. And look, God, let me I speak on behalf of Oren here. If you want to hear more of this, if you want Oren to do more of these sessions, then tell us. Hit Twitter, hit Facebook, and let us know what you thought. And let us know if you want to hear more of this sort of stuff and you want us to tackle different sites and different projects. I'm getting a lot of questions, and I'll barrel them up into one. Is, does Pitch Anything apply to blah? Selling local SEO services, selling financial services. What about a idea concept where it's only about potential? That's what Oren does every day, I should add. Does pitch, let me ask you, let me try to turn it around to make it easy to answer for you, Oren. Is there any business pitching situation where Pitch Anything doesn't apply?
No, this stuff is fundamental. Look, if you reread the chapter 1, and that part it's free, it's on the site.
Yep.
It is elemental to the human condition. Look, this is why the publisher bought this book immediately. They put hundreds of thousands of dollars behind it. They don't know anything about finance. The only reason this is put in context of finance is because that is the most difficult, harsh operating environment to pitch in. Investment,
I can tell you about
or
that.
selling. But if you're selling fire equipment to a fire department, right? This stuff works. If you're selling the I want our family to get a puppy, not a kitten, this works. Right? I don't want to be, if you're selling jet fighters or birthday cakes or whatever it works. I only put it in context of finance because that is the most harsh operating environment for a pitch. But these other environments are even easier. This stuff works. Once you start to get a head of steam and frame control, you're going to lose your mind how powerful it is.
Absolutely. And can I just absolutely firm that up? I've probably sold about $600,000 worth of stuff in the last 8 weeks using 2 videos. And if you go back and have a look at those videos, I think they're online on YouTube. I'll put a link in the show notes. Both of them, products aren't for sale now, by the way, but the point is, both of them used Oren's approach step by step by step. Like the 2 videos, 20-minute videos, using the exact specific, and they sold far better than any other video to cold, raw traffic than I've ever produced ever in my life. That's why I've been such an advocate of Oren's materials, because I see it working. And that is, and as I say, if you want to see, and I'm seeing a lot of thank yous and please, desperately more, please can you do a course? Still a lot of people interested in that investment opportunity. I don't know what we can do about that. Yeah. But your pitch worked. It worked very, very well indeed. So
let me throw a time frame on you, and let's take one more question, and then get people set up, for the next one. If people want to continue, I'm very passionate about doing this stuff. We can do it forever. But let's take one more question
last
and try
one.
and nail it down.
And Amy has titled this burning question. How do we apply time constraints, as a local marketing consultant? In other words, you're somebody who is selling to local businesses the fact that they need to get online, they need to be number one for their, like if they're the local mechanic, they need to be number one for the mechanics, and you're dealing with local businesses, small businesses, and so on. How do you apply time constraint to that?
Oh, okay. So look, this is. I had an office near a group who was selling to local businesses. So I saw this firsthand, and they were doing a terrible job of it. And it was my job to help them, but I hate seeing bad art around me. It's like, if you're an artist or doing bad art, then it's depressing. So I started a help group for them and fixed the problem. So what they were doing is they were calling out local businesses and saying, how can I earn your business? Let me know anytime, and I'll come down there and spend time with you, right? We can give you something for free to try it. We'll give you a guarantee. All these kinds of supplicating behaviors, right?
Just explain supplicating for people.
Oh, so supplicating is when you are submissive, or
Being needy.
you're It's a version of, begging, right? It's asking without any, power or control. So it's like, please, can I have some ice cream, Mom? Right? All right. So the way that I help these guys is, and they were actually in an office building that in the highest part of San Diego. And so what I had them do is call up and say, hey, look, we are in Tower 1. We see the entire landscape of downtown San Diego and East County. I have seen 100 businesses in your exact same condition. I know exactly what the market is doing, what is working, and what isn't. All right? I drove by your place the other day, and I noticed a few things that are clear problems. I am willing to spend some time with you. Maybe we spend 20 minutes together. Okay, maybe we spend 20 minutes together to see if it's a good fit and you like the things that we have, and I can share some insight about what other people are doing that's working. And if we decide to get back together, maybe we could spend more time on the second meeting. Okay? That's exactly how I would approach it. I mean, not knowing the details of the person who asked the question.
Yep.
Right. But the fundamentals are, hey, before I know if you're a good customer, before you know if I have a good product, let's spend a few minutes together. If that goes anywhere, then we'll do something else longer. Okay? And so I just got back from Geneva. I was 3 out of the last 4 weeks in Switzerland. And before I went over there, lots of guys wanted to meet on this active genomics deal. Right? Oh, come over and meet. But I'm just flying 20 hours just because some guy wants to meet with me. Right? So I have to call them and talk. I said, no. Okay, Mr. Venture Capitalist, we got to talk for 20 minutes. I got to see if you're real. Right? I'm not flying friggin' 20 hours to take a meeting, and the meeting lasts for 60 seconds. That's ridiculous. I would never do that to myself. Okay? You get on the phone. I get on the phone. We'll see if there's any love connection here, and if there is, then we'll take it to a meeting. All right?
And with that mention of love connection, which we should try to do with every webinar that we do, let's wrap this up, because as you say, we need to make sure we time constrain at all times. Most importantly, if you want to, Oren is on Twitter at Pitch Anything. If you like this and you want to hear Oren do more of this, then tell him about it on Twitter and tell your friends about it. We'll send an email. Hopefully we've got a great recording of this. Tell your friends about it. We want to build a wonderful Pitch Anything community. The website is at pitchanything.net. That's pitchanything.net. We have a fantastic new promotion coming up on the site next week where we might be able to present and have Oren work on your pitch. It might be a sales pitch. It might be any sort of pitch. So look out for that. Please tell your friends. Oren, thank you so much for being part of that. I've just had a text from a name in the industry that a lot of people would recognise, and he said bluntly, after the first 10 minutes, that's the best webinar I've ever been on. So that is using great positioning there as well. So thank you very much, Oren. Thank you everybody for being part of this. Oren, any last words?
Well, my last words are, let's keep doing this. If you have a pitch that needs fixing, let's fix it. But I'm not going to just keep working for you guys for free. I want you guys to go to my website, and that's something I'm not an expert in, right? So I want feedback. Hey, I wish the site did this. I wish this was on it. I wish you provided, X, Y, Z. So as you were consuming my, pitch material, right? Give me feedback as well. So this is a fair relationship, just sucking up my brain.
Very good. All right. With that, everybody, thank you very much for attending. Tell your friends, and we will speak again soon. Thanks, everybody, for coming. And I should say thank you, Adrian and Donal, for being so generous with popping up your websites as pitch reviews. So thank you very much, guys. It's very brave to be first cabs off the rank, and I hope it really helped you. All right, thanks everybody, and we'll speak soon.
Thanks, Ed.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.